How many of you are familiar with the Moscow theater incident? Incidentally, I'm going to check your knowledge of Russia. I'm going to see how many of you were interested in what Russia was up to before 2014. We're going to see. We're going to see if Russia got on your radar only after the whole 2014 on 2022. That was a very famous incident. No clue. I'm gonna clue you in. It's my job to clue you in right now. Oh, wait! It has a whole Wikipedia article now. Never mind. We're just gonna go to the Wikipedia. It was such a big thing that it got a whole Wikipedia entry. And excellent. So we can really turn this into a bigger thing. It didn't botch it. It wasn't a botched rescue. What they did was on purpose. From their perspective, it was a success. Because the terrorists got killed. So it wasn't a botched rescue, it was a full success. How can you call it a botched rescue if, they did what they wanted to do? Now, if you're looking at it from the perspective of a state that would care about its citizens, then yes, it was a botched hostage rescue. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of the Russian state, then it was basically a successful operation, wasn't it? Hmm? Let's take a look. The Moscow theater hostage crisis, also known as the 2002 Nord-Ost siege, was the seizure of the crowded Dubrovka theater by Chechen terrorists on 23rd October 2002, which involved 850 hostages and ended with Russian security services killing or causing the death of at least 170 people. The attackers, led by Movsar Barayev, by the way, just like to add well, I would say, interestingly enough, I might get heat for this. Okay, I might get heat for this opinion. What Israel is doing with Gaza is this on a bigger scale. Okay? What Israel is doing in Gaza is just this on a bigger scale. And you're gonna see why in a minute. Due to the layout of the theater, special forces would have had to fight through 30 meters of corridor and advance up a well-defended staircase before they could reach the hall in which the hostages were held. Damn. The theater audience was used as human shields by the terrorists, so the Russian state just had no choice but to, you know. The attackers had numerous explosives, with the most powerful in the center of the auditorium. Spetsnaz operators from Federal Security Services, Alpha and Vimpel, supported by a Russian military, of Ministry of Internal Affairs, SOBR unit pumped a chemical agent into the building's ventilation system and began to rescue the rescue operation. How nice. So to translate this, the special forces began the rescue operation by pumping the theater full of gas. Yes, they gassed everyone. Correct. All 40 of the insurgents were shot dead when unconscious, and up to 130 hostages died during the siege, including 9 foreigners, due to the toxic substance pumped into the theater. And this is a very important part of what I'm about to read to you. The identity of the gas was not disclosed at the time, although it was believed to have been a fentanyl derivative. A study published in 2012 concluded that it had been a mixture of carfentanil and remifentanil. The same study pointed out that in a 2011 case at the European Court of Human Rights, the Russian government stated that the aerosol used was a mixture of fentanyl, a derivative, and a chemical compound with a narcotic action. Oh, this is real. And also, to add to this little story, the paramedics were not able to properly help the hostages, the victims, because the special forces refused to disclose to them what kind of gas was used. So they were unable to administer proper treatment to people because they didn't know what they were dealing with, and they were not told. This is why so many people died, because the medics were refused the knowledge of what they were dealing with, so they had to treat it blind. Because it's Russia. Russia doesn't care. Russia never cared about its citizens. It should not be a shock to anyone. This like during the early debates, when some people try to in debates say that, oh, but Russia just wants to help denazify Ukraine, I was like, Russia doesn't care. Have we forgotten 2002 theater incident? Are we so quick to forget? If Russia gasses its own citizens, why would it care about Ukrainian people? Answer, riddle me this. Riddle me this, Batman. If Russia can't be asked to care about its own citizens, why would it care about the citizens of Ukraine? I'm surprised that so little. I'm surprised that basically nobody knows about this. It was such a big thing. It was such a huge. This was such a huge event. It just nobody knows about it. Well, we've learned about it today, so that's okay. Casualties. The number of estimated casualties varies wildly because many hostages remained unaccounted for and were not included in the official list. How interesting. Some estimates have put the civilian deaths toll at more than 200, with 204 names on the list, or even 300, including people who died during the year after the siege from complications from the poison gas. Oh, okay. Some former hostages and relatives of the victims claim that the death toll from the chemical agency is being kept secret. Not surprising. According to official numbers, 40 terrorists and about 130 hostages died during the raid or in the following days. My mother had an expression whenever something was worn out. She would say, "Give it to the Russians," because of how they did not look after their POWs in World War. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this, I guess pretty. That was a pretty. How should I say? Improvised, very spontaneous segment about the Russian soul, so-called Russian soul, the Russian spirit. Have been given a bit of a glimpse into how Russia has been operating for a long, long time. How interesting.